January marks Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and with the college football playoff championship game happening here in Houston, we should all be on alert. Joining me this morning is FBI Supervisory Special Agent Torrence White. Torrence, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning to chat with us.
Zach, thanks for having me.
You know, I was actually on assignment yesterday talking to a woman here in Fort Bend County who was trafficked back in the 70s. We initially introduced our audience to her last year, but I'm doing a follow-up story with her because there's been a development in her case with her trafficker. This is a major problem here in Houston, but also across the country. It impacts every community, every corner of those communities within our states. I want to start by defining what human trafficking is and what it can look like.
Yeah, Zach, you're exactly right. When you talk about human trafficking, it really has no demographic profile that you can look at. When you talk about trafficking, we're talking about when someone's compelling or coercing someone to perform labor services, forced labor, domestic servitude, or any commercial sex act by force, fraud, or coercion. I think oftentimes that can get conflated with smuggling. When we talk about smuggling, smuggling in that aspect is a crime against the border, where someone consensually goes into a contract with a smuggler to move from one country to another. In that you have to actually move a person. With trafficking, you don't actually have to move a person. Again, the trafficking aspect is the force, fraud, or coercion to compel someone to engage in labor, forced labor, or commercial sex trafficking.
And this can happen to anyone at any age. I know Houston is often referred to as a hotspot. Some people even go as far as saying it is the capital of human trafficking here in Texas. I know the climate contributes to that, the location of our city, to the port, and then, of course, being along that I-10 corridor, but also just the number of people we have here. For people who say human trafficking does not impact me, what would you say to them?
Oh. When you think about human trafficking, it's about 24 to 25 million people that are victims of human trafficking worldwide. And when we say it doesn't impact you, it's a $150 billion industry. In Houston, because we're an international city, we have a lot of business, we have a lot of events that occur here in Houston. Again, the impact that it has on different industries, whether it's the hotel industry, the agriculture industry, the hospitality industry, it impacts everyone because we're paying a part. Because as we try to investigate these issues regarding human trafficking, we're trying to target the systems in order to get the best resources for the victims in their recovery.
Yeah, human trafficking has been around for decades, perhaps even centuries, you know, since the time our country was founded. It's changed. How people traffic people, that has changed. But human trafficking was a problem, it still is a problem. Talk to us about how social media has changed human trafficking, what it looks like, and how traffickers capitalize on people and make them victims.
Absolutely, Zach. With social media has made it easy for everyone in everyday life. You can order your groceries online. You can find a mate online. So with social media, it's increased the opportunities for traffickers to reach victims from the various platforms, whether it be gaming platforms, apps. Also with social media, they have the anonymity to be who they are, when they want to be, and how they want to be, which helps with the exploitation and the fraud or coercion part of it. Also, when you talk about social media, it has the ability to increase profitability because it can reach more people. When you talk about, there are about 8 billion people in the world, and of that, 5.5 billion people have access to the internet. So every day, and when someone goes online, a juvenile goes online, a victim goes online, they have the opportunity to be reached by 5.5 billion people, as well as when you're talking about the advertisement for any any services, they can advertise and reach more people much more widely.
Yeah. I know last year when I was reporting on this, I did a story. I interviewed an organization called Unbound Now, and the person that I spoke to within that organization, I remember they said something along the lines like, in Houston, you can dial up and order a child and have them delivered to you, whether that be a hotel or wherever it is that you are, as easily as you can order a pizza. And I remember when she said that, I recall being so disturbed by hearing the reality of that and thinking about that. That's nauseating.
Yeah, it's the benefits of social media. What we use it as in everyday life has made our life much easier, but that's what the predators and traffickers do. They found those same things and exploit those vulnerabilities within those social media platforms and the internet. And again, they see the profitability in it because they can reach more people. As I said, you can order pizza overnight. You can order a husband or a wife online.
Right,
So they're using those same platforms in order to propagate the trafficking.
You know, Torrence, we're having this conversation today, obviously, ahead of the championship game that's taking place here Monday. We're going to see thousands of people come into Houston. And typically these sporting events, whether that be this college football championship game or the World Series, Super Bowl, whatever it is, it tends to attract these types of crimes, these types of situations. But the reality of it is that we live in, the fourth largest country or the fourth largest city in the country. We have major industry here, oil and gas. Sometimes people associate human trafficking with Bissonnette and what's happening over there. But that's not always the case. There's a lot of money in human trafficking.
No, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, you're talking about $150 billion industry annually. So when you talk about the trafficking aspect of it, people are going to go where people are. So when you talk about the sporting industry that's here, the vibrant nightlife, et cetera, if you can reach people, you're going to be able to move your product, and your product is people. The more people you have, the more victims you can try to get into your group, as well as the more people you can actually reach. So Houston, being as the fourth largest city in the country, it's right for trafficking. And again, where we're positioned close to the border, where we have a vulnerable immigrant population, people also prey on that as well.
Torrence, who can be victimized? Who can be trafficked?
I would say there's no profile. There's anyone can become a victim, but most often than not, the predators prey on those vulnerabilities that are out there, that's happening in everyday life. Children from welfare or the justice system, the runaways, the foster care system, unaccompanied foreign children or minors. And then we talk about an immigrant population because of the language barriers or cultural barriers. And again, with the internet, that has increased their reach on just the everyday kid that's sitting in their room, scrolling on the internet, engaging with folks that can be exploited and forced into trafficking.
Yeah, you know, I'm so glad you brought that up. Yesterday, I was reminded when I was having this conversation with Rhonda, who, again, now has dedicated her life to human trafficking outreach. She was telling me that it's hard because these are the only stats we have. The stats we have are of the known cases. They're of the cases of people who have come forward or who have been saved. But talk to us about how there's so many of these cases that go unreported among populations like boys, for example, and men who are impacted by human trafficking, but we don't have those stats for several different reasons.
Right. The biggest thing, the underreporting occurs again, in a lot of populations that are fearful of coming forth and engaging with law enforcement. You may see that again in the immigrant population or the undocumented immigrant population, as well as just from other countries or venues where they're not trustful of law enforcement because of any corruption issues that they may have faced at home, as well as the shame that may be associated with it, because it's a very traumatic thing for a victim. So here with the FBI, along with our partners with Hatcher, the Human Trafficking Rescue Alliance, we really try to focus on the victim-centric approach to get the victim back on track to being assimilating in society, because again, it's a traumatic thing to be forced to do something that you don't want to do and to live that over and over again. So it's very victim-centric. To keep us focused on getting the resources to those individuals where they're welcoming, they want to come forward and talk with us, and they want to get the help to get back into society and be a productive member.
Yeah, it certainly takes a community. Torrence White with the FBI, thank you so much for your time this morning. Come back anytime you want. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for highlighting this. It's very important that we get the education out that to help prevent these things. And if anyone has any information in regards to human trafficking, I want to just put this out here. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. Or you can always call your local FBI office. And if there's something that's urgent, pick up the phone and call 911. We're here along with our partners with HPD, Harris County, the United States Attorney's Office, and the host of law enforcement agencies and NGOs to make sure that we're trying to curb the human trafficking in this area.
If you see something, say something. If you suspect it, there's no harm in calling it in to say what it is that you're seeing. I know one tip that Rhonda gave us yesterday was to save those numbers in your phone, so this way if you do see something, you're not in your phone looking for these numbers that you can identify, you can remember and make note of license plates or whatever it is to help you fill out those questionnaires, those forms.
No, absolutely, Zach. I certainly appreciate it.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much. This is just the first of many conversations KPRC2 is having. The community is shining a spotlight on Elijah Rising and the work organization it does to help victims. Elijah Rising offers van tours of areas suspected or known to be heavy areas of illicit activity in an effort to spread awareness. The organization also offers restorative care to survivors to labor or sex work throughout Houston. To learn more, head on over to our website, clicktohouston.com/community. Again, this is the first of many conversations we will be having on human trafficking within the next few weeks.